thought of myself as the Lois Lane of the Michigan State University School of Journalism. And what Superman's leading lady and I had in common was that we were both no-nonsense, hard-hitting newspaper women. And you could find us with a pen over our ear and a steno pad in hand, racing off to break the latest story. The summer after my junior year of college, I applied for a really exclusive internship. And I was so excited because I remember that the ad said, "Do it all in one of Michigan's most famous cities." And then I couldn't believe it when I found out that I got the internship. And I would be working at the Mackinac Island Town Crier. Now, Mackinac Island, for those of you who aren't familiar, is this really small island in the Great Lakes, and it's a really popular tourist destination. And it's kind of like the land that time forgot. It's supposed to recreate this authentic early 1900s village. And their claim to fame is that they don't allow cars, only horses and bicycles. And the Town Crier is a publication that runs weekly in the summer and bi-monthly in the winter. So I take the ferry over to Mackinac Island for my very first day, and I'm all dressed up, and I'm wearing my three-piece suit and my stilettos and my trench coat and my fedora, because I knew that that's how Lois Lane would do it. I like to dress to theme. So I get off the boat, and I'm immediately hit by the smell of fudge and horse shit. And these are the two other things that Mackinac Island is famous for. The selling and packing of fudge is a very important industry on Mackinac Island. So I trudge up the hill to the newspaper office, and that's where I meet William. And he is the editor and publisher of the Town Crier, and he is a Mackinac Island native, and he looks like the Gorton's fisherman, except he's wearing a t-shirt that says, "I'm just nutty about Ryba's maple pecan fudge." And he looks at me and he says, "Oh, now you know. I'm so excited to teach you how to do it all on Mackinac Island." And this is where I find out that doing it all means not only writing and photographing all the stories, but also doing things like going to the docks at 7 a.m. to unload the papers from the boat and wheel them in a cart around the island and refill all the newspaper boxes. It was sweaty and completely unglamorous, and I could never imagine Lois Lane doing that. But I smiled through it because I believed in the spirit of community journalism. So a few weeks into the internship, I started suggesting story ideas to William. And I would say things like, "William, I got a hot scoop for you. You're going to love it. I'm going to write about the town council. There are elections coming up. Find out who the candidates are, what makes them tick. What do you say?" "Oh, now you know. The Mackinac Island first grade class is riding their bikes all the way around the island by themselves today. William, I got another hot tip for you. You're going to love it. It's going to give the people what they want. I think we should write about the Michigan economy and how it's affected Mackinac Island tourism. Go." "Oh, now you know. There's a historic baseball game up at Fort Mackinac." And every night, I would cry on the phone to my mother about how I was a real journalist, and I deserve better than this. I might not deserve the New York Times, but I deserve at least the Traverse City Record Eagle. But one day, I saw something in the police reports that I hadn't noticed before. It was a story about a man who'd lost $500. I pulled all the files, all the statements. I read the man's statement. It said that he'd been hanging out with two female friends, and to the night, they stole $500 from him. I read the two women's statements, and they said that he had given them the money because he was just so nice. Then I read the man's wife's statement, and she said that they were prostitutes. They were Mackinac Island prostitutes. And they were sleeping with men for, and this is a direct quote, ladies and gentlemen, fudge, souvenirs, ferry tickets, and whatever else they could get. And I knew that this was my Watergate. I stayed up all night writing the article, and I showed it to William the next morning. He just kind of looked at it, and he said, "Oh, now you know. It's time for you to go cover the Lilac Festival parade." So I'm standing in the parade route and watching everyone go by, and I realized that William's never going to publish my article. And I'm never going to wake up, go down to the docks, rip open the pallets, and see prostitution ring uncovered. Daring young reporter exposes the truth. Because I thought all this time that I was Lois Lane. I thought I was this daring city reporter, but really, I was another cog in the Mackinac Island tourism machine. And really, I was no better than a fudge packer.